The pressure is on Texas, not Clemson. And that's what I'm talking about today. In just a moment, welcome to the channel. I'm Brian. I'm glad you're here. Wow, we're getting closer and closer to the first round of the college football playoff. Of course, Saturday we have Army and Navy. That's kind of odd that after the conference championship you have a game anyway. But the season is really coming together, and it's a lot of fun. So, hey, if you like talking college football, you like talking Clemson football, and you like supporting someone who's an independent, I hope you'll subscribe. Remember, it is free. Look, I'm not trying to hit you up during this this Christmas season. This Christmas season, you're like, man, I can't spend any money. Subscribing is free. My analytics said the other day, in just 2 days, I had 25,000 new viewers. So, hope y'all will subscribe if you like what you're hearing. Again, it is free. Let's dive into Clemson and Texas. The last time Texas won a national championship was that incredible Rose Bowl win against Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart, USC. Vince Young went off in that game. We have some incredible moments from that. It was like an episode. It wasn't even like a game. The pictures of Vince Young facing the crowd and the confetti coming down on him. It's legendary in college football. Mac Brown getting that national championship, it was awesome. An instant classic. But since then, they've been to what? The national championship one time? Since then? Colt McCoy. Who did they play in that game? Alabama. Just when the whole Alabama run really started. And now the pressure is on Texas. This is a team who spends hundreds of millions of dollars on football. Their coach is one of the highest paid coaches in college football. And what is so crazy about this is that they're hosting the game. They're coming off their second college football playoff. This is their second college football playoff in a row. Sark did it. He got them back to the promised land. They go to the SEC. Everybody's thinking, oh, they're going to go to the SEC. They're going to lay a golden turd. The SEC blue blood fans are like, you let them come on over here. We'll show them a thing or two about how good they are. We don't care if they are Texas. And what does Texas do? They end up in the SEC championship playing Georgia. Barely losing that game. And now they're here. And if they get past Clemson, here's what's interesting about it. If they get past Clemson, who do they have to play? Arizona State. It's like if you look at that bracket down there where that feeds into Georgia or it feeds into Oregon, you know you have to play those two schools in some form. One of those two schools you're going to end up playing definitely, if not both of them. The winner of the Oregon game is going to play the winner of the Georgia game. Now, I know Oregon and Georgia is not playing one another in the first round, but just follow where I'm going. You look at Texas, their road, they beat Clemson. They play against Arizona State. And then who do they play? The winner of the Boise State, whoever game. So if they get past Clemson, Texas has a pretty doggone, I won't say easy, but they have a more doable road ahead of them. A lot of people would argue that. The game is in Austin, Texas. Cade's coming back home. He's going to be playing in front of friends and family. So it's just like this is laying in Texas's lap. Texas is playing a team that most people go, they shouldn't even be in the college football playoff. This is a 3-loss, not SEC team. This is a 3-loss ACC team. The ACC is blah. You know, while everybody was tripping over their feet to talk about Miami, I kept telling you throughout this season, listen, Cam Ward's good, Restrepo's good, These guys are talented. But I'm telling you, I don't buy into it. And people tell me, hey, you worry about yourself. The Canes, where's the Canes playing again? I can't seem to find them on the college football playoff bracket. Where are they? Oh, Pop-Tart Bowl. Pop-Tart Bowl. Mm-hmm. Yep. This is a 3-loss ACC team. This is a Dabo Swinney team who got blown out by Georgia by 31 points. Who got beat by double digits by who? Louisville? You just lost to South Carolina, a really good South Carolina team that I argue was, at the time was one of the hottest teams in America, as much as I can't stand the Gamecocks. And it takes Miami blowing a 21-point lead for this team to stumble into Austin. It takes this Clemson team blowing a 17-point lead against SMU and trotting a true freshman out there to hit a 56-yard field goal to win the game. If you're a non-Clemson fan, especially if you don't like Clemson, you just can't stand them. You're tired of Dabo. The orange and white's too loud for you. You think the Tiger Rag sounds like a bunch of old drunk church women wrote it. You just can't stand them. Oh, you're having a field day. You're sitting there going, or not even field day. You're actually having a conniption because you're going, these guys are lucky. They failed forward. And they're playing Texas. And that's exactly why all the pressure is on Texas. You can't lose this game. You spend too much money on football. You spend too much money on your coach. You spent, $300,000 on a recruiting weekend for Arch Manning a few years ago? I mean, the only way you're going to be bested or rivaled in spending money on recruits and spending money on football is if you go up to Columbus, Ohio. Everybody knows this. So with all that pressure and all that expectation, and this is Texas, I'm not just talking about the Longhorns, I'm talking about this is the state of Texas. Yeah, all the pressure's on you. Let's talk about the coaches and the comparisons between them. Steve Sarkisian, which, by the way, I don't know why it's this way, but when I think of Steve Sarkisian, I actually think about when he played at BYU, opening game, I think it was 1996 against Texas A&M. A&M was really good. He was quarterback for BYU. He threw for 526, 541, somewhere in there. That team went something like 14-1. For the longest, if my memory serves me correct, that team was the winningest team as far as won more games in a season than anyone until this playoff format had been introduced. Nobody had won 14 games. They lost one game, but they won. For some reason, that's what I think of Steve Sarkisian. I go all the way back to that. Plus, his name is very individualistic. You don't hear the name Sarkisian all the time. It's not like hearing Smith, Jones, Anderson, something like that. It's a very individual name. This guy has coached at some incredible places. His career is storied. He's had some obstacles he's had to overcome. But he's coached at a who's who, with a who's who. When Nick Saban calls you up and says, hey, I know what happened and blah, 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 but hey, come on down here to Tuscaloosa. Come work for me. That's an honor. He goes on, takes the job at Texas. But this guy has not held a national championship trophy. He hasn't. As a head coach. You flip to the other side of the field, you have a guy that by the time he was 48 years old, he had 2 national championships in a 3-year period. He has 6 consecutive playoff appearances. And by the way, this is playoff appearance number 7 for Dabo Swinney. Dabo Swinney has checked off more boxes for himself to where when people get frustrated with him for this reason or that reason, you still always have to come back to, well, unless you're talking about Urban Meyer, who's retired and he has 3 national championships total, or Nick Saban, who's retired and has 7 national championships total. I mean, there's Dabo Swinney. And then you would say there's Kirby Smart. Yes, but Dabo's been to more playoff appearances, more playoff games. He's made more playoff appearances, been to more playoff games than anybody, other than the people, the aforementioned. So Dabo Swinney's going to walk into this game, and I'm sure he'll have your normal human nervousness. But if there's one person who's going to be comfortable, okay, familiar with a playoff setting, it's Swinney. Because he's been to more of them than anyone. That puts more pressure on Sark. Dabo Swinney can turn and look at his players and say, hey, guys, this is what it feels like. Remember the feeling. Remember this. This is number 7 for me. There's people all over the country right now, they don't have number 1. Now, what's working in Texas's favor is this is 2 years in a row that they've made it to the college football playoff, and they've done it in 2 conferences. They proved the naysayers wrong about the SEC, the schedule, the blah, blah, blah. They're in. Got past that. They played their old conference rival. Now, of course, they're in the SEC as well, but they played and bloodied the nose of Oklahoma. Oklahoma's not in a good place. It's weird right now. But they're here. The pressure is on Texas. Because here's the thing. If Texas comes in and beats Clemson, you know what everybody is going to say? Well, they were supposed to. They were supposed to beat the team who had 3 losses in the regular season. Every time Clemson played a good team, they lost. They almost, in the regular season, they get to the conference championship, they play a good team, they go up by 17, and what did they do? They Clemson. They're Clemsoning. They lost the lead. They needed a miracle to win a game. They needed a true freshman to trot out there and hit a 56-yard field goal. I'm telling you, that is a joke in itself. But you know what? Clemson is here. Texas beats Clemson? Yeah, they were supposed to. Clemson wasn't supposed to be there. Clemson comes in and beats Texas? The world falls apart. So with all that money that's going in to the program, all the money being shelled out to the coach and the coaching staff, all the money that's being shelled out to football players, all the money that's being shelled out for recruiting weekends that cost more than most of us make in a year, put together times about 4. You know what? All of that is weighing on the shoulders of the Texas Longhorns, because if they win, they were supposed to, and if they lose, what? That works in the favor of the Clemson Tigers. By the way, Dabo Swinney loves being an underdog. He's been an underdog all of his life until he got to Clemson and started taking off. Even, hey, listen, for some of you Texas fans out there, or maybe non-Clemson fans, you got to remember that Dabo's second, if my memory serves me correct, his second full season, I'm not counting the interim season, his second full season at Clemson, I believe it was, he had a losing record. If you include the bowl game, he was 6-7. And everybody was like, oh, here we go. There was no playoffs to talk about, no national championships to talk about, no nothing to talk about. Even then, he was an underdog. He loves being an underdog. He sells his team on being the underdog. He sells his team on being the wrong shade of orange. I'm telling you, all the pressure is on Texas in this game. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Is it all on Texas? Do you smell what the Rock is cooking here? I want you to let me know and drop a quick comment. Get into the comment sections real quick. I'm going to fly through this koozie. Let's not act like Texas aren't generational choke-up artists. The team has done nothing but come up short for the past decade and a half. Give me Dabo and the Tigers koozie. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. $10. That's awfully generous of you. Thank you so flipping much. It means it means a lot to me. Get through here, say hello to a few people. We have Maurice Johnson. We have the Sandstorm. We have Sam in here. Let me see. Maurice Johnson, Meditating Monkey. Austin Garrett. Sam. A lot of people's wanting Adam Randall to go to running back. We still playing. Now we're going to wear the other teams out. Shuggles D, love that name. Kevin. Noah Denton, good to see you, my friend. A lot of people's wanting to see him, Adam Randall, run the football. Blueberry Pop-Tarts are delicious. I have to watch my glucose levels, so I stay away from them. Let me see. Brian Selly putting in the work building the channel. We see you, Bobby Durkins. Hey, Bobby Durkins sees you, my friend. The Gaston family, they can beat Texas. Let me see. Penix threw for 430 and 2 touchdowns on them. There's a lot of people talking about Texas. A question. I'm telling you, the pressure is on the Longhorns. So we'll see how they handle that. Folks, last plea from me. Been looking at the analytics. As I said, the other day I looked at the analytics. It said in 2 days I had 25,000 new viewers. So if you're one of those people, or if you've been watching me for a while, you haven't subscribed, remember it is free. If you like supporting someone who's an independent, hey, I hope you'll do that. I really do appreciate it because, as I said, it is free. Y'all take care of yourself. And as always, go Tigers.